Disney has updated Star Wars launch bay. Is this bad news for the people mover? Disney may be going the Amazon Prime route. Magic Key holders are getting a bigger merchandise discount. And a potential clue to possible Magic Key sales. All that coming up next on Fresh Baked. Hi guys, David here with Fresh Baked, and we've got news. It's possibly good news for DVC members. Well, probably good news for DVC members, but for the rest of us, maybe not so much. Yesterday on the Disney Parks blog, Disney announced they're going to build a new DVC lounge at Disneyland. Much like the lounges found today at Walt Disney World, the Top of the World Lounge at Contemporary Resort, or at the Imagination Pavilion in Epcot. This new DVC lounge, the Disney Vacation Club Starview Station, will be developed on the second floor of the currently vacant Star Wars launch bay in Tomorrowland. The lounge is scheduled to open in the first half of 2023. The sleekly quote-unquote, sleekly designed space will be for DVC members only and will offer plenty of casual seating, complimentary Wi-Fi, and device charging stations. And take care. I kid because, that doesn't sound like much. It doesn't really look like much either. Some new carpet, some new seating, some pretty good looking art. I have to say the art looks pretty cool, but that's just it. It's applied on the wall. It's not anything technically advanced or forward thinking anyway. It's just art on a wall. And just based on the concept art, I'm not getting the sense that any of the interiors have been, redesigned or redone in any way. I think they're just going to put this in the existing interiors of Launch Bay. Now, what's inside isn't really the story. The real story is that they're building this in a Tomorrowland, and they're building it in the Innoventions building, a building which hasn't been able to make anything work since, America Sings is the last thing that's really kind of worked in that building. And it recently, this is the bigger part, it recently became the center of the conversation about the future of the People Mover. There were rumors that the People Mover might be coming back, and at the center of that conversation is how that fits with the Innoventions building. In fact, recently, Disneyland News Today reported a rumor that Disney was going to be converting that building into a seating area. Now, I don't know if they did, but I personally took that as meant they were going to destroy the Launch Bay building, Innoventions, and they were going to put in outdoor seating, something that guests from Alien Pizza Planet or Galactic Grill could use to enjoy their meals. But it appears now that seating area that they're talking about is this, the Vacation Club seating area, the lounge, which obviously means that a demo of that building is not in its immediate future. By extension, it sort of throws kind of a wet blanket over the whole conversation about the future of tomorrow, a new Tomorrowland, or even just the return of People Mover. But it does kind of, it dampers the enthusiasm a little bit, because some might say that it's not possible. It isn't. It isn't possible to do a redo of Tomorrowland, update Tomorrowland, and keep the Innoventions building. I don't think that's possible. It's also, some people think, not possible to bring back the People Mover without doing something about that building, considering how intimate they are with each other. And the news doesn't get much better for fans of Tomorrowland, because what you're getting here is just what looks to be another weak, sort of unfinished and cheap attempt to get some kind of use out of the Innoventions building. But another word that I might use to describe what I'm seeing in that concept art is temporary. This looks all day to be a temporary update. This screams just for now, which that gives me hope. They certainly aren't putting a big budget behind this, and that makes sense if they have other long-term plans for the building. You don't want to put a bunch of money into a thing if you know. I've been saying this for years. You're not going to put a lot of money. You're not going to get really creative and put a big budget behind something if you know you're going to do something to the building in the future. Now, the problem with that logic, before I get into further, is that they've been kicking that can down the road for years now. So we keep saying that, but they keep kicking the can. They keep putting it off for another couple of years. This looks like that. So let me continue that original thought about hope, because if the concept art looked better, if we got some really fun-looking, amazing concept art that looked like it had a budget behind it, that would be bad news. That would be bad news for the future of Tomorrowland, for the future of that building. Money and creativity behind a thing is long-term thinking. And that includes not just the People Mover, but any sort of update to Tomorrowland. So while it's not good news, it isn't great news for fans of the People Mover. It's not the death blow that many think it might be. If anything, this could be considered a positive sign. In fact, I mean, you have to believe that the Tomorrowland project, whatever it might be, is a long-term project. It's something that's going to take. Look, even if they put in the People Mover, that's not something that they're just going to flip a switch and put it on, install it right away. It could take years just to get started on that project. It could be argued that this is exactly, here I go, this could be exactly the kind of thing that they're saying, let's try to get some use out of this thing for the next couple of years until we get to that point. And that point being People Mover, Tomorrowland, new Tomorrowland. Then, and let's say, after a couple of years, 2024, they take a wrecking ball to that building. Do they still use wrecking balls? Excavators? Whatever. I still do see violence in the future for the Innoventions, Launch Bay, Carousel of Progress building. Now, one last observation before we move on to the next topic is that this could be viewed on a separate conversation as a continuation of Disney's growing trend towards creating a separation in the services offered at the park. Separation between regular paying guests and those guests who are going to be paying a little bit extra. Disney has been going full steam ahead and trying to create more value for those guests who are willing to pay a little bit extra. Look for more of this in the future. Matter of fact, the next conversation that we have is more of this. Look for more of this in the future from Disney. In fact, look for another video on this in terms of the future of a certain ongoing and unfinished project at Disneyland. Look for more new revenue streams like Catino in Palm Springs, or this new possibility, Disney Prime. Yesterday, the Wall Street Journal reported that Disney is looking into creating something of a model of the Amazon Prime program. For those unaware, Amazon Prime is a subscription service on Amazon offered currently for $14.99 a month that offers a variety of perks. For starters, you get free shipping on just about everything for sale on Amazon, plus free movie streaming, exclusive sales, and access to other services. So how would that look for Disney? Well, right off the bat, you can assume that they would roll in Disney Plus into that Disney Prime program, much like Amazon does with their Prime Video. Disney would also likely use the service to provide discounts on things that we might normally not find discounts on, like tickets to Disneyland, for example. And due to my bias, that was the very first thing that I thought of. They could offer discounts on tickets. Or more importantly, it's an opportunity for them to sell more single or multi-day tickets to guests who are choosing not to get an annual pass, or maybe it's in lieu of selling annual passes. If they're going to, let's say, sunset the annual pass program, this is an opportunity for them to sell more tickets in volume. And I single this out, the ticket thing, because they've already got Disney Plus, obviously. So more is better. If they include that with Prime, it's even better. But it's already a thing. They've also already got Shop Disney and D23. Now, those aren't paid. Well, D23 Gold is, but it's kind of different. They're not paid subscriptions. So, this is a new revenue stream. But I feel like that's the core of their thinking, as far as my perspective goes, is mostly about the parks, which is interesting. Now, apart from selling tickets, to my view, one of the really interesting things is that it's an opportunity, again, another opportunity, for them to sell something, to sell a thing, or to create value for a thing that otherwise didn't have it. It's something that existed already, but now we're going to attach a monetary value to it. Something like Magic Morning, for example. Magic Morning used to be a perk that was offered to any guest who bought a 3-day multi-day ticket or was a guest at one of the resort hotels. Magic Mornings ended during COVID. They didn't come back for a long while, but when they did, they reduced that array of guests who could use that system to just resort guests. So those guests who were buying a 3-day ticket were not offered the ability to do Magic Morning. And that is not an insignificant point. And I feel like when I heard that news, I felt like they're holding it back. They're holding it back for something they're going to try. I thought they were just going to outright sell it. And they still could. They still could. That's a conversation for another video. They still could outright sell access, Magic Morning access, but it's also something that they could give as part of the membership program on Disney Prime. It would be easy for them to say, pay your monthly subscription to Disney Prime, buy your tickets from here, and anytime you buy a ticket on Disney Prime, it comes with Magic Morning. Or you can buy an add-on. You can add it on to the back of the ticket, which takes us back to the other conversation. While you're at it, offer them Genie Plus, free or at a discount. I'm not sure which would be better, but Genie Plus for everybody on Disney Prime. And I wonder if they what's the math on that? I would love to see some speculative math on how many more copies, for lack of a better word, could they sell of Genie Plus if it were offered as part of a monthly service program. Man, this is just fascinating finance stuff. If they offered it as part of a monthly service program as opposed to people buying it a la carte and adding it on their ticket. I have long said, from my perspective as an annual pass holder, that the a la carte option is the worst way to sell this product. Give the people a chance to say no, and they will. But it's so much easier if you lump it into a larger service. If you lump it into the Magic Key price, if you add that in there and just roll it in, we wouldn't even say no. I mean, 80% of us would buy Genie Plus if it was added into the Magic Key. Same thing. I would become a member of Disney Prime if if Genie Plus was added into the price of a ticket. So that's one benefit, and it's a pretty big one. And I feel like they've done their homework on that, and I feel like they are going to make this thing happen. There's also another component about information. Per Christina Shake, Disney's newly hired VP of Communications, technology is giving us new ways to customize and personalize the consumer experience so that we are delivering entertainment, experiences, and products that are most relevant to each of our guests. A membership program is just one of the exciting ideas that is being explored. It's all about the data. The more things they know about us, the easier it would be for them to sell things to us. And that actually would follow us into the parks. Sell things to us on Disney Prime, sell things to us while we're in the parks. And then finally, there's an enhanced opportunity for them to sell their newly acquired IPs, i.e. those from Fox, to its core guest, the Disney guest. You have your core Disney consumers, and they are very dedicated to the Disney product that is closely associated with Disney. Properties, Fox properties, that perhaps the core Disney guest or the core Disney consumer is having a hard time getting used to. Aliens, Avatar, Ice Age, Die Hard, The Simpsons. I know Disney Plus has The Simpsons, but how's that going? But as for the service in general, from a customer perspective, from a Disneyland customer perspective, I feel like it is it's a non-starter if it doesn't include discounts on Disneyland tickets and or additional services. And I do think that there would be a lot of interest from guests if they did offer stuff like Genie Plus or Magic Morning on those tickets. Speaking of discounts, Disney is offering one to Magic Key holders. Actually, they got one already, but between September 21st and October 14th, Magic Keys can get an increased discount, 30% off on selected merchandise around the Disneyland Resort. And this appears to include Halloween merch. An interesting development considering we just started the Halloween season and they're already trying to stimulate Magic Key holder merchandise sales. The mind spins trying to figure out the motivation behind this decision, especially when you consider the messaging that we've been getting recently is just how well everything has been going. But then they did kind of qualify those successes recently by saying that everything is going great except at Disneyland. But then that was I think the conversation was regarding Genie Plus and not necessarily merchandise. They're not really telling us much as far as merchandise goes, but let me say this. There's a reason why we're seeing so much Walt Disney World merch at Disneyland. And that's because they have too much of it. They didn't sell as much as they hoped, and they're importing it from Disney World over into Disneyland. And the same could be true here. They're not selling merch like they used to. I have to think that's what's driving this. Now, I don't know if it's specifically Magic Key holders. Magic Key holders are not in the parks as much as they used to, so they can't buy as much merch. I'm not sure how that works, but there is a reason why they're pointing this directly at Magic Key holders. Having said that, though, when's the last time you saw Disney offer a sale to just everybody? When's the last time you saw a discount rack at the Emporium? I'm thinking never. They did it that one time, Christmas, during the shutdown. I remember going to the Emporium, or World of Disney, to see what I can find. It was like 50% off on Christmas merchandise a week before Christmas. But that's the last thing I can remember of Disney ever doing a discount of any kind. For regular guests, that is. But as far as Magic Key hold, I mean, this is a win, right? I mean, you get For $70, you're getting $100 worth of merchandise. Go for it. Okay, with that, we're going to end with one fun little bit of info. If you enjoy, like I do, trying to find meaning into little technical glitches that you see on the Disneyland app or on the Disneyland website, kind of like the one where we saw the Renew Now button appear on the Magic Key Holders page. Here's something that Fresh Baked Street Teamer Daniel caught in a moment of time, a snapshot of the page to buy a Magic Key. Not to renew, but to buy. It's not there now, of course, but it was for a minute. What possible reason could Disney have to be messing around with the Magic Key purchase code on the website if it wasn't because they were getting ready to sell Magic Keys? I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean they're trying to sell them soon. It could be that this is all in preparation. What is it? It's September. This could be in preparation for selling Magic Keys sometime next year, which that's something that we've been talking about as a likely candidate after the new year. But at minimum, you could at least view this, I choose to view this as a positive sign that selling Magic Keys is still in the front of Disney's mind. They still want to sell Magic Keys. Everything means something. Gotta be, right? All right, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching so much. I love you guys. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's Fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. And if you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.